If you're thinking of selling your home, you have one thing in common with every other person who's ever thought of selling their home, and that's motivation. So you have a reason why you're selling. So your motivation can be you're looking for a bigger home because your family is growing. You're looking for a smaller home because your family has grown and you have too much space now. You are moving to a new city because you got a new job. You are retiring and you're moving to a new city. You are having health issues and you need to downsize because the house is too much maintenance or there's too many flights of stairs and you need either a single story or you need a condo or a co-op with less maintenance involved. So whatever the reason is, there is a reason, there's a life event. And anybody you're going to talk to in the process of selling your home is going to say, hey, why are you selling? So that's motivation. So motivation is the impetus, the reason why you want to sell. And then number two is the time that you have until you need to sell. So how quickly do you need to be in your new city where your job is? Can you have somebody hang out in Queens to help facilitate this, or are you gone and you have to do everything long distance? And do you have the time and energy to do that? So motivation is number one, time is number two, and it comes down to time versus money. So if you are sort of in the middle ground where you have a little bit of time and you can pre-plan. So most homeowners are looking at anywhere from a month or 2 months to a year in advance before they list and sell their home. Now, some folks have all the time in the world and they'd like to sell, but they don't need to sell. And so they decide to go for sale by owner, option number two. And that's a great option. You didn't think I was going to say that, but it's a great option and it works for some people because they have the time, they have the energy, they have the patience, and they can explore that option. So I will talk more about that in another video. And when I do release the video, it's going to show up right there, right now, be the link or link below. The third option is for folks who don't have time, who don't have the wherewithal to engage with the real estate agent to prepare their home for pictures and videos and open houses or anything like that. They don't have the capability for whatever reason to do that, okay? They're the ones who are going to call those signs that say, we'll buy your home for cash, any condition, close in 5 days, 7 days a week, whatever. All right. Or it says, we buy ugly homes. So this is another option, but it's going to cost you. And it comes down to time versus money. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive, but let me introduce myself right after this. Hi, I'm Mark Carton with Carton Real Estate Services in Queens, New York, and I talk to home sellers or possible home sellers every single day. And everybody has a different reason for thinking of selling. And money is not always the ultimate motivator. Actually, the net profit of what they're going to get in their pocket. They need to get cash, not necessarily the most amount of money, all right, but they need X amount of dollars. And so they're willing to look at other avenues. And this is the selling your home to an investor. And that's what all these signs are. And the websites that extol all the benefits of not using a real estate agent. So this is not in defense of a real estate agent. This is just apples to apples, a better understanding of what to consider if this is an option that you're going to consider. Because I would hazard to say that the way that some investors and investment companies propose their services are less than above board. I'll keep it at that. So I've said in earlier videos, the one that's entitled, How Much Money Can You Expect to Make? Walk away with, something like that. You'll see it. Or I'll put it right there. In this video, I say if you're selling a house, it's going to cost you about 8% between real estate commissions and closing costs, okay? If you're selling a condo, it's going to be about 9%. If you're selling a co-op, it's going to be about 10%. So there you have it, between 8 and 10%. Now, somebody who's going to come to you, let me stop for a second. Why would somebody choose to sell their home in 10 days without the hassle of showings and pictures and all that stuff? For a lot of reasons. So they are in dire straits. So they have bills that need to be paid now. They are in bad health. And so they cannot keep up with the house. It's in disrepair. It's obvious from the outside and the inside. They're behind on their mortgage payments and they're facing foreclosure. They need money for food or for any basic need. It is dire. This is their last asset and they need the money now. So this is the sort of equivalent of going to a pawn shop and saying, I have this beautiful gold chain. I know it's worth $1,000. How much will you give me for it? We'll give you 200. What? 200? Gosh, I really need the money. Give me 250. Okay, 250. And they're done. You can do this with a house, but the cost is extreme. And these folks, this is just capitalism at its best, are going to take that house, fix it up, and they're going to sell it for fair market value. But you got what you needed, and you went into this with your eyes open. But it is a certain level of desperation. So at the very, very, very best, if your house is beautiful and it doesn't need repairs and it's really sort of turnkey, but you just want out now, you might get 90 cents on the dollar. So that's at the very best, okay? Because they need to make their profit, all right? They're going to, when they relist, pay a real estate agent for finding a buyer, unless they do it as for sale by owner, which a lot of times they do. So without getting into the deep minutia of this, the bottom line is that a traditional real estate sale is going to cost you between 8 and 10%. Are you going to close in 7 to 10 days? Absolutely not. However, here's the option. If you want the best of all worlds, talk to a real estate agent who has a pool of investors. So now we can skip the listing of, going to the public and the coming soon, which is 2 weeks, and then the open houses, and then the offers, and then you're going to take cash or a mortgage, and maybe the deal will fall through because of the appraisal or the home inspection. My gosh, there can be a lot of things that go wrong if you make wrong choices along the way, or if all the pieces don't fall into place. That can happen in any transaction. However, if you're in a need to sell, a need that is more dire, let me just add a couple more options. You could have a parent who passed away and the property is in Queens and you're in Oklahoma or Florida or Alaska, and you just need to dispose of this quickly. Makes sense to call one of these investor type services and get rid of the property quick and painless. All right, because you have a job and you have a family and you just can't get involved. Again, you're going to pay a high cost. It's all going to be sight unseen. The benefit of a real estate agent, depending who you choose, is you have somebody who has a fiduciary duty to you because you're their client. You have somebody who is local, who has standing in the community, who abides by a code of ethics, and who has compassion and who has connections. So again, where ideal or most real estate agents have the ability to have a lot of investors that they can call in, and between the 5 or 10 of them get you a much better offer and also be able to close quickly, and certainly 8 to 10% for what your charge is versus losing 20 or 30 or 40% of the value in the hopes of saving months of time. So you can save months of time with a real estate agent. You just have to communicate it and to know it's available. So a lot of my other videos go into all the details about the traditional way of selling because most sellers have a reasonable timeline. But it's understandable when you're up against the wall, and people are, or people are embarrassed because they're a hoarder or because they can't imagine that they're in this situation. And if they can do it very far away from somebody who's just going to come in and they can go away, to wherever they need to go, then that has a certain amount of appeal, and they're willing to pay that extra price. All I'm saying is it's not worth it. I've heard from sellers who've had seller's remorse, seen what that house ultimately sold for after they sold it. And let's just take this as a public service announcement that you do have options, and it doesn't hurt to have a conversation with the real estate agent to know what the value of your home is. Please express to them that this is urgent and you need to go a non-traditional route. So I hope that's helpful. I'm more than happy always to speak one-on-one for your particular situation, whether it's for you or a family member. I wish you the best of luck on the sale of your home. Thanks so much for listening.